welcome to Mistress of Reads. I am OP or Mistress OP if you're feeling dirty, because I need a second job. I'm not propositioning using YouTube. Don't ban me. Don't ban me. Okay. And I have on the line Boo from Geeks and Grown-Ups Gamers and Madam Boo.
Madame.
Are you looking for a second job?
Well, I'm always looking for a second job. I'm not gotta make that money.
Madam Boo, if you're feeling dirty. Okay. No, really, don't, because we just recently had the guy who used to email us all the time and send us messages stop. So really, that was just a joke. No weird ass dude, lonely dude who don't pay the PayPal first. No, there is no.
Oh my god.
Freebies. Okay, no, I'm just playing. Okay, I'm playing.
Well, it depends. I'm playing if there's no decimal point and it's followed by four zeros, possibly 5. Then I stop playing.
Yeah.
I ain't cheap.
we got. You know what? Got bills to pay.
Actually, you know what? 4 zeros makes me flexible. 5 zeros means I ain't playing.
4 zeros. I think you should do like 5 zeros is flexible. 5 zeros with a little love on the end. A little stank on the end. Depending on what you look like. What you smell like. More pliant. We gotta talk, yeah. Yeah, we gotta talk.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this week we have Hidden Legacy by Ilona Andrews, a husband and wife team who ride up a storm and have come out with a previous series, the Kate Daniels series, the Ed series, which we will not talk about ever. Because we don't love them. We just won't.
We just don't love that series, let's be honest. Let's not lie.
Yeah.
They even know people didn't like the Ed series. They're just like,
they were getting that money. I think they were buying a house, paying some bills. And Clean Sweep series. Is it called the Clean Sweep series?
Yes, it's Clean Sweep.
Yeah, which is more sci-fi fantasy, but it's also urban fantasy, which I enjoy. It's like a weird sci-fi urban fantasy thing going on. And
it's like a female Doctor Who, but instead of a TARDIS, she has a house.
Yeah, and like there's a lot to unpack in it. And I think what the Ilona Andrews pair does really well is they're one of the strongest world builders we have for our generation of books, which is, 30-something woman reading, and sometimes younger and sometimes older. But they do very competent world building, and they always remember to bite off a big enough chunk of world building to carry you through several books. Instead of, very shallow world building, which is more of a paranormal romance world building, which you find yourself just following characters and never expanding the world. So their world become a character unto themselves. So if they ever got the inkling to do like side series and whatnot, you would still want to keep exploring the world, which is an amazing thing, especially if they got to pay some bills.
I want them to continue with Derek's series. That's a good series.
I agree with you, Bill. All right. So what we're going to do today for this Hidden Legacy series is we're going to give you a review of the series as a whole. Just the series, all 3 books, and then we're going to go into our discussion. So it's kind of like not really a 2-parter, but a 1/3 or a 1/4.
Pretty much, the first part ain't going to be spoilers. The second part is going to be spoilers.
Because this series is somewhat new, whereas some of the series we discuss are very old. So if you haven't read it, we're pissing everywhere.
So if you haven't read the series yet, and you don't want us to ruin it, when we reach this discussion which department, I love this part, and you hear that we're about to get to it, turn it the fuck off.
Please do. Turn it off. And don't cry. Don't send mail. Don't contact us on Twitter because we ruined it. By the way, Mistress of Reads on Twitter. Don't do any of that stuff. Just continue to love us because I know I see you viewing. Now, and I will remember to post this on Goodreads probably sometime within the next week or so when I am in San Francisco and sitting or on the train to San Francisco again because that's where I spend most of my life.
Isn't that a song on the train to San Francisco?
Probably, but we don't have a great train system here, so it's more like somebody's just peeing near the BART. So, here we go. So the Ilona Andrews series revolves around Nevada Baylor. I almost said Baker, but Baylor as in she bails people, like a bailer, somebody who's bailing somebody out.
Except that it's with the Y, not an I.
Yes, with the Y and Y. So Nevada Baylor. Nevada Baylor has she's not your typical urban fantasy paranormal hero because unlike a lot of paranormal heroines in the book, she is not a lonely person waiting for the right who doesn't have any friends or family.
She's not on her lonely island.
Yeah, and who's just waiting for a man to show up and
so
save her.
Oh, I have friends now and a man. Oh my goodness.
And I cannot upset him because I will lose everything.
Oh. You know, there's an author out there that wants to really beat us with a book.
I don't mind it happening. It's just that particular scenario happens so much across romance and somewhat urban fantasy, and it just gets old. I kind of want to see characters have family before they run into their man of choice or while they're running into their man of choice and build their own lives and then go to another man or then go to a man and their lives combine instead of just, open your legs. Oh boy, you're going to fill me up with your whole life. I mean, it's just not pleasant.
I'm even cool with what Faith Hunter did with the Nell books, Soulwood books, where it's like she had her family. Her family was established. She was isolated, but as she left her isolation, she became more socialized. And
I'm fine with that too. Honestly, I'm fine with if it's well told. I don't mind open your legs, filling you with your life stuff. It's just that I hate that it's so common. And it's a missed opportunity. It's a constant missed opportunity to create something awesome.
Yeah, or even flesh out your world a bit more.
Yeah, the missed opportunity gets old after a while. Just gets old. Okay, so Nevada Baylor, she has a kick-ass grandma who repairs freaking tanks, and she has a
her mama's a sniper.
I would say it's like her grandma. I'm starting off with grandma. I'm going to get to sniper mom. Okay. Her grandma who has this kick-ass ability to repair items like cars and things like that and then turn them into extremely deadly devices. I would say that she's a technomancer.
You could hook up her with Z from the Mercy Thompson books.
Yeah. Yeah. Except for she's like more tanky.
Yeah. Well, she's more like blow it up. He's more like cut you up. That could be interesting.
Yeah. Ooh, that would make a nice little romance book too. Z on his full Z things because I think Z's hot when he has his glamour off.
Okay. And Grandma likes her flower boys, so with no shame either.
Then we have her mother, which is I forget the mother's name. I have a list of characters here that I wrote out. Nevada Baylor.
Let me look.
Catalina's the sister. It doesn't put her name.
Arabella's the sister.
She's constantly calling her mom, so I'm just going to call her Mama.
Everybody else refers to her as, was it Sergeant?
Yeah, the Sergeant too. Mom, Sergeant, what have you. All right.
Sergeant Baylor, yeah. She's badass.
Sniper. We have a mysterious father who we don't really know anything about until the series goes on. But he was a loving figure in her life. Hands down, we don't have some weird-ass abusey shit going on. Loving figure. I'm digging it.
Well,
Then
you
we
know,
have
real fast, something else that I really like, the fact that it wasn't one of those things where she had to learn to be badass. Like she was
the
raised by
mom.
a woman that was already
Yeah, she's a
badass.
retired military person, and this is like a parallel. This isn't this world isn't like our world. It's not an urban fantasy in the sense of our world with a bunch of magical creatures. This is a
It's rather
completely
dystopic.
reimagined United States history sort of world.
Hey, here one little small spoiler. In this book, Mexico is the world power.
So Grandma Frida, then we have is her name is either Penelope or I think her name is Penelope Baylor.
Penelope, that sounds right.
Yeah, but they call it Penelope isn't really a kick-ass name, so Sergeant Baylor.
Yeah, I much prefer Sergeant Baylor. But it's like I feel like Nevada learned her kicked assness from her mom, and I think that's cool too. So, but then from what you learn later on is that they were kind of raised to be kick ass. But anyway, let's continue.
We're gonna keep going through the list of people there. We have the sisters, the two sisters, which is Catalina and Arabella, kind of blend in until like the third book. You third and second book, you kind of confuse the two.
Can't really tell them apart.
Yeah, I just I kind of understand why they have to be there, but I wish she would have made them more distinct. So early on we would have that distinction of the two. But if you have one that's shy, but their very basic characteristics, one's kind of shy and tries to avoid it, and one's very loud and forward.
Yeah, Arabella is very loud and forward. Catalina is the shy one.
It doesn't think things through. Then we have, I'm going to try to say a little less. Then we have, I've been working on it, trying to get back into the gist of not saying but we have on the list here, we have Byrne and Leon, who are brothers, and but they're brothers, they're like cousins to the Baylor family. Uh, they're cousins to the Baylor family. Byrne is the one who does
He's the
her
geek. He does the computers and stuff. He's the geek.
he's her comm center, and then
Now, real
Leon
fast, I noticed something. Did you like envision Byrne as like a skinny kid?
no,
I did. Like in the first book, I really truly envisioned him like a
no,
skinny
because
kid.
she said in the first book that he almost envelops the area that he's in. If you looked at him, you would not think he's what he seems.
See,
You think he's a huge.
how's it? I missed that, but you missed the fact that they were both blonde.
I think we just listen to different things, honestly. We listen to totally different things, and I mean, I think I would probably even miss it if I was doing. We listen to the audiobooks because we generally listen to the audiobooks because we got shit to do in our lives. If you
Yeah.
aren't already if you aren't already getting audiobooks to expand your reading choices, you should. They're free at the local library. You can go in, you can burn the freaking disc and then give it back.
Don't teach
You
them.
can do all that stuff. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying that, they're free. So you should get them, especially because it'll make you happy. Most of the stuff you watch on TV is terrible. And then when you get a chance, you go and you Netflix dive things when stuff is over. Okay. But
Not unless it's the Arrow, because I don't give a damn what Stephen Amell is doing. As long as there's like a pull up scene with no
I'm
shirt
gonna be
on,
honest.
I'm good.
I stopped watching Arrow, and I just started watching the supercut Arrow pull-up scenes.
That's what you should do.
On YouTube. I don't watch Arrow anymore. I just watch the supercut scenes when new ones come out. I'm shallow, and I'm a
Yeah, me
book gold
too.
digger. And I'm not a gold digger in life, but I seem to be a book gold digger. And there's two things that just like workout scenes, and like that scene in Top Gun, even though that Tom Cruise is really short.
Yeah.
The homoerotic scene in Top Gun. There's a couple, but
There's a volleyball one.
yeah, I watch the volleyball one in supercut sometimes too. So let me get back to the series, the Hidden Legacy series, and we have that's actually everybody, pretty much everybody important to the first one except for Mad Rogan and Yeah, pretty much Mad Rogan, which is the possible spoiler alert love interest,
What about
maybe.
Augustus?
He's a
Augustine, that's his
surprise
name.
type character. He's a
Really?
surprise type character we see later, which is
I
the guy who Augustine Montgomery. He bought the
you
place.
Yeah, but you meet him within the first chapter.
Okay, then Augustine Montgomery, who's sort of a slimy house guy who bought the place, who bought her business because her father died, unfortunately,
They
of
pretty much had to put everything up for sale to pay for her father's doctor's bills.
yeah, he died of cancer.
Augustine's an illusionist,
Yes. Okay.
so we actually don't know what he looks like without his glamour.
Yes. We have this really interesting house system, which isn't really laid out that well, even by the time you get to book 3. The dynamics, because she hasn't been welcomed into that universe of the house system. So until Nevada learns more about it, because although she is a very knowing character, which is my favorite types of characters,
Mine
she's
too.
knowing about things like power, the way power works and things like that. But when it comes to the higher levels of magic and things like that, she just doesn't know much because she wasn't trained to. So we learn only what Nevada knows currently throughout the
Yes.
series because it's in this sort of funky first person. And we do get series later on in the series, we do get snippets of Mad Dog Rogan or Mad Rogan. We get snippets of his view because Rogan knows a lot of stuff,
Yes.
but we don't get tons of it. So we are learning the world through Nevada Baylor's eyes. So you only get so much.
Are you trying to get yourself to the bakery today?
I was supposed to go. I was going to eat something, and then we did the show. I was going to the store to buy food because I have the food here. Okay, so Nevada is such a good character, but I think the authors are very caught up in that whole Kate Daniels world and that Kate Daniels sort of groove,
Yeah,
that until book two-ish, you don't punch out into her world.
I can agree with that.
And you don't punch out into what Nevada and who Nevada is. And I think that was one of the few missed opportunities in this book, because what is interesting about the series isn't just Nevada and Rogan, which is also interesting. What's interesting is the family itself.
Yeah, her family, the house system, I really do want to know more about. I want to know more about this world that they're in. I mean, they tell you a good chunk, but not. I want more. Give me. I want more.
Well, you get the feeling that they really have planned out the world, but they were trying to write a paranormal romance and then got sidetracked by the urban fantasy-ish.
Oh, it turned so urban because like the first book definitely very urban fantasy. Second book urban fantasy with a kiss of paranormal romance, and then third book they went buck wild.
Now, I wonder if the publisher was actually trying to buy an urban fantasy, or were they trying to buy a paranormal romance? Because if you look at the cover, their covers are set up like paranormal romance books.
Even though they're the wrong hair color.
Yeah, and in the middle book, White Hot, the guy's boob is in the wrong place. It makes no sense. He's just like, I think I was looking at some fan site and somebody had put a t-shirt on him and the cover actually looked better. If you have OCD, do not look at any of these covers, because there's like a wandering boob on the middle book and it will drive you nuts.
Yeah, the Gordons often comment about how they're like cursed with bad book covers. So
I don't know what is wrong with that publisher or what's going on.
Someone hates them in there.
I don't know what is going on. They need to hire some folk, or maybe perhaps what they should do is contract a cover artist themselves, and then give the cover to the publisher or something. There's something going on there.
Yeah.
Somebody does not get paid, and I don't normally say that because I love it when people pay their bills, but they're best-selling authors. They really deserve better than this.
Yes, they do.
best-selling authors. And I think, I will say this, I'm not sure who's shucking their book, but they have technically done right by them. Okay, so let's get back into this to the series. I would say that this series is a must-read,
Yeah, I co-sign on
even
that.
though technically it's not complete and it ended incomplete so far.
And in a way where you can be satisfied, but you're still going to have questions.
Oh yeah, there's a big middle finger at the end, but it's not stuck up your ass. But I think that the only reason why, it's not because, they wanted to stop writing, is because the publisher didn't buy more. And that's the publisher. I mean, it has 20,000 reviews, 10,000 reviews after the whole hiccup of the book not coming out at the right time. But overall, it's actually a well done series. I mean, you don't get tons of quality in urban fantasy lately, and
No.
tons of world building and tons of anything. You kind of get a bevy of paranormal romance, and you can only see so much paranormal romance because it's pretty much, I think, like you said a couple days ago, it's just a really fancy bodice ripper, you know?
Yeah.
And, you can only take so much, you
Badass
know,
bottle ripper is what I called
yeah,
it.
you can only take so much ding ding and pee-pees, Cut
Yeah.
freaking out. I mean, without a new take on it. And I just find that I don't find it bad because I enjoy a little bit of paranormal romance, but I enjoy the whole entire package you get in urban fantasy and fantasy books in general. You know, I don't begrudge, the soccer mom her, you know, I don't begrudge the soccer mom her paranormal romance, and I don't begrudge the football mom her paranormal romance that she has on her Kindle because she can show nobody the cover because the cover has some dude who's barely in clothes. Just saying. That's what she's reading at the game. Just saying. Just Timmy, mommy's in the middle of a sex scene. Keep running, keep running.
I'm so glad Lily has been in martial arts. Like I didn't have to really go to a lot of matches because their tournaments are only a few times a year.
Good job, lazy mom.
Damn straight. I've checked out for the weekend, kids. Just so you know.
Timmy's going for the goal. Mommy's going for the goal too. Okay. Oh, I think Timmy should be a character on their show from now on. Just
Oh my god.
don't worry. Put Timmy. Timmy doesn't want to know about this book, so we're gonna get dirty. All right. So I think that this is definitely a series that is well worth it. The covers are terrible, so I wouldn't normally say this, but and you know what the worst part about their covers is because you can't get the hardback with these covers. They're terrible covers.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're kicking themselves in the butt for money too, because the covers are so freaking bad that
And it's
you
it's
can't.
not even just this series though. Like all the covers are bad. Even like Clean Sweep, which was slightly better. There's the one book in the series. I think it's the second book. Could be
The
that.
neck is all messed up.
Yeah.
The
She's like
neck is
half
too
giraffe
long.
and shit.
The neck is too skinny and too long. But then again, it could have been the model is actually looks like that.
Well, that's a shame. Such a pretty girl with such
The
a
model
strange
might
neck.
have a weird neck.
Her dad must be giraffe.
Part of the problem is that she's wearing a robe. So the
Yeah.
robe is all puffy and big, so it makes her neck and head look even smaller. So it's the problem is part of the problem is they should he is the way the model is it's not a good idea to do this with this particular clothing. So they had a costume issue which exacerbated her weird neck and skinny head. Because I think like the person who did it is actually doing what, she's probably one of those people who are unable to draw without a model, which
Yeah.
I and that's what the model actually looked like. And then on top of it, she's in a robe with a huge head thingy, and that's just not a good
Maybe if
idea.
you did something more with her hair, like while in the robe, like it'd make her neck look less weird.
Or they could have had her hands coming up to try to put the head thing on herself.
Yeah, just something other than that neck.
I just think it's a bad staging overall. She should have had the broom or something, her hand on the broom,
Maybe.
her hand on the broom without this thingy, without
Or
the head.
maybe without her on the cover at all, and maybe the house.
No, that's too boring. They want somebody on the cover to like focus in on for urban fantasy. So you have to at least put a person on the cover. When you just put houses and things, the book sells less.
Huh.
The people who are into the series though don't mind because it means something to them. But you have to,
Turn
put
in
like
your readers.
a person on the cover. Okay, but back to the book series. I think that it's well worth. It's well worth getting though. It's well worth getting. It's well worth buying. It's definitely worth getting the audiobook. They haven't had a bad audiobook yet,
No,
which
they
is
haven't.
something that a lot of authors don't realize how important that is because audiobook readers are word of mouth readers. They read a lot of books and they get really excited.
And like they lucked out and have an amazing voice actress that is
Yes.
really really good.
And you know, she's consistently has enough voices to fill in the void. She has enough voices to fill in whatever is needed all the time. So I do enjoy that quite a bit.
I do too.
I'm filling in the red right now for the group. Okay,
You're
so
crazy.
I think we plunged the depths of this series, and we're about to put the spoiler alert up. It's spoiler alert. It's spoilering time. You know,
Yes.
um, the whole series for me is 5 out of 5. You know, if there was a 6, I'd say it's 6 out of 6.
I would give book one a 5. I'd give book two a 4 because it had a weird feel to it.
They were
And
fixing errors in book 2, but
yeah,
even in book 2, I was happy with the series as a whole.
I was happy with it, but still, because it gave me a weird feel, I'm going to give it a 4. Book three, I'm going to definitely give a 5.
I give book 3 a 6. The
Changing the
grandma, the
scale
double
on me and whatnot.
grandmas, the whole entire thing was amazing. I honestly think that if I would honestly, part of me wishes Wildfire was actually book 1.
I kind of feel like it really is the true beginning of the story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I
maybe
wish
they
they
did
would
it
have.
that way on
They
purpose.
could have taken a chunk of White Hot, like a bit of White Hot, put it into Wildfire, and that would have been book 1. Extremely long book 1, but a book 1.
Well, maybe we'll luck out and we'll get more in a few years.
I think when they get the publishing back, they'll get more. This was also one of the best visually magical books for them because it leans a lot on alchemy and circles and majory, and I really like that. It's it's one of the few books in the series from them. It's one of the few books written by the Ilona Andrews pair that has such a beautiful possibilities if they ever want to do like a manga or a comic book
Yeah.
because it's visually it's very rich visually and
I
has a lot of
really
good side characters who
What
come
really
early on.
draws me to them is like I love like they find the most unusual settings. They find settings you're not going to normally find in urban fantasy. And
Well,
I haven't read that many books that take smack that place in smack dab in the middle of Houston, Texas. Um, it's just like with Georgia, and like you could tell they love themselves in Georgia because the way that they described
Lavish, lavish.
dystopic Atlanta, and then talked about what used to be there. Like they love that city.
All
You
the
can feel
books,
it.
all urban fantasy books seem to take place in like New York or something like that, or blah blah blah. Sometimes it's
Or
Las
somewhere
Vegas.
around Seattle.
Las
Vegas is really
Vegas.
popular
Seattle was
too.
actually a somewhat new location ever since Twilight. Seattle was a new location.
Yeah, but Twilight's been around for a while. We just refuse to
But
admit
I'm
that we
saying for
age.
Twilight, that location was actually a newer one. It made sense if they're vampires. I mean, it's almost all diffused light. It actually made a lot of sense.
Well, usually, like when if a book involves like werewolves, it's usually like Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, um, areas like that, and like
Yeah.
so.
The vampires are either French or Italian.
Uh, Usually, oh god, and you can thank Anne Rice for that one. I really feel
All
you can thank Anne
vampires are
Rice.
French and Italian.
Yeah,
When vampires are actually like Russian and Romanian and German.
yeah. But
Russian, Romanian, German, and something Eastern European instead
check.
of where they're putting it. Not fucking Italian.
But yeah, like I really, it's just the way they do their settings. You can tell that they love the city that they're talking about. You can tell that they love Houston.
The
You
city
can tell, like,
itself
they are
becomes a
based in,
character, consistent character.
and they
Yes.
are, based in real life in Houston. But
Houston.
that, well,
They are leaving because nothing's based in Houston anymore. And it's funny. Okay, we'll talk about this later, but we're
yeah.
going to skip the thought pattern that I have because it's terrible. Um, and we're going to skip that and let's instead talk about the the need for this series
To
to go
continue.
ahead. What was that?
To continue. Yes.
Yes, the
Yes.
need for the series to go, keep going on.
Please, please, Mr. and Mrs. Gordon,
When you
please.
get the rights back, call me.
Like I will proofread like
Call me.
forever. I will read arcs. I will alpha read, beta read, alpha, beta,
You
delta,
know what the
omega
funny thing
read.
is?
I just please give us
On
more.
my Mistress of Reads, on my Mistress OP account on Goodreads, I always put who do I, if I really love a series, who do I need to blow to to get the beta? You know, who do I need to blow? Let's get this over with. do I do I need to cook? Do I need to clean? What do I need to do? Give me this book. Let's negotiate.
I bake a lot. I can totally make anything. I
Right.
specialize
Right.
in delicate pastries. Please.
I honestly think this Hidden Legacy series is the future. Is the future. Although I know that the Innkeeper Chronicles is doing quite well as well. But the Hidden Legacy series, like for her urban fantasy, need to
Especially to give us such a good like series when Kate Daniels is reaching an end. It's
yeah.
just like, okay, see, that's just a
Here
dirty
you go,
tease.
children. Here you go. Here's something for you to read.
That's just a dirty tease. Like you got to give us more.
Yeah, it was really just like a chip off of the whole series, and it was interesting. It was very interesting. I was very excited. I'm still very excited about the series. I walk away both intrigued and satisfied,
I
which
feel
is
like it's something I never experienced before in urban fantasy. There's I don't know. I can't explain it, but it makes me feel different. Yeah.
well, I've read a couple books that had a house system, and we never really got into the whole house system and all the house politics stuff. But from the part of the thing that they chipped off, which was the whole government intervention stuff, and what a government would do if they had a mobile atom bomb that didn't end up in atoms,
Yeah.
atomic energy and fallout. Because that's what he is. He's a mobile atomic bomb. Um, I'm trying to avoid. I'm working on it, but it punched out a lot of lore, a lot of interesting things. It punched that all out, and we only got like a little bite of the cookie.
Yeah.
We didn't get the whole damn cookie. I don't take bites of cookies. I eat whole cookies. So,
This is
so,
so terrible.
so,
We're still
so,
gonna get dinged again because I'm about to say the most horrible thing ever.
well,
Just the tip.
yeah, it was just a tip. I was never good at just, working with a tip. Finish it off.
Real.
All right. So let's go ahead and talk about it. This is the end. If you would like to not be spoiled, go ahead and head out. We enjoy you. Leave a comment, leave a message, vote up. We got more for you. We're gonna try and do a show where we talk about this and this next week, which is this and that, click and clack. And then I believe I'm forcing Boo into the hollows.
I'm not going back. You can't make me.
I'm forcing you.
You can't do it. I will fight Scratch.
You don't have to reread it. I just want to discuss it.
Fine.
Forcing you into the hollows. Because I heard the hollows is coming back. Possibly.
Oh my, what else can she write about it?
So thank you for joining us. Stay with us if you want to get to the discussion portion, because that's what we're actually good at. We are very good at talking about books like they are freaking classical masterpieces, because for us they are. We enjoy them that much. We enjoy them without bones. Yep. We enjoy books. So let's go ahead and get into the discussion of the Hidden Legacy series with the spoilers, and thank you again for joining us. So,
all right,
boom.
Get into the meat.
The dick is slapping us in the face, just saying. I'm not into that, but I'm aware that that's what I'm getting. So, what I enjoy about Byrne for me was that it was a very Kate Daniels, but at the same time, it pulled off its own little shtick with the whole family dynamics, the whole military stuff. We've never really gotten that before. Because in the Kate Daniels series, it's a post-apocalyptic. It's almost post-apocalyptic. It oscillates between dystopian and modern. Whereas this one is just a different take on the world.
Yeah, it's alternate history, and
yeah, the alternate history being that everybody gets superpowers shortly after not a plague, but a potion is found around the time of
it was early.
King Tut's tomb.
Something like that, and they use it and replicate it, and pretty much everybody takes it, and some people get power, some people don't, and then that powder, they start to breed it out, and so on and so forth. In this world, as I mentioned before, Mexico is the world power.
The U.S. is a world power too.
No, but the Mexican has this. Mexico, according in the first book, Mexico is like it. Like Mexico is like the United States. Like in this history timeline.
I thought that Mexico and the United States have parallel because of Mad Dog Rogan and a few other people. They have parallel. They are somewhat parallel in power.
I really distinctly remember them mentioning that Mexico was the world power.
Oh, okay. Well, no.
You might
build a wall.
I have to do a reread.
No, not necessary. Build a wall. Okay, so we have a Nevada Veiler who's living her life, and she is trying to keep her business afloat and trying to keep on the low.
Oh, very low. Yes.
She's trying to keep on the low. And then we have Mad Dog Rogan, who isn't actually crazy, but he is actually crazy.
He has a couple things going on there. He has some PTSD happening, but he also is methodical in the things that he does.
He's also a psychopath.
He tries not to act on his emotions, but at the same time, his first thought is protect, preserve. Be it
Snatch.
himself, be it himself or others, protect or preserve, and
Snatch.
by
You
any
forgot the
means.
snatch part.
Well, it's by any means necessary. So
Because like what the problem is like he originally came to snatch her, and that
yeah,
became not a non-viable option anymore.
well that's because she kind of sort of mentally kicked his ass.
Twice.
So that was over quickly. And then he became fascinated with her because she mentally kicked his ass. And I love that. I love little twists like that where it's like, you just fucked me up. So what's your number?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I. I also what I think is underscored about this whole entire series is that the family cast, not really Seth's, band of Seth's crew is interesting, but not that interesting.
Yeah.
Whereas her family is fucking interesting. I have not seen. I would just watch a book without Mad Dog Rogan and just watch her family interact and work on cases.
Oh,
I didn't
also
need him
in the
for
first
this.
book, you meet the only person that Nevada truly fears. His doctor.
Uh, and her grandma. You don't meet her grandma, but she actually fears the grandma. The whole family, like when the grandma is even mentioned, the whole family just shakes.
Yeah, they're
The whole world actually shakes. Actually,
that's because that woman burnt the world.
oh my god, she was looking for something. Okay, I think that this series does sort of push into too many tropes of Kate Daniels. And that's the
Mm,
one flaw. That's the big flaw in the series. And they had the thing about it is that you see in like when they try to clean it out in book 3 when they're cleaning out these sort of Kate Danielsy tropes, you actually see a much stronger book, which is the worst part.
I'm just trying to think of
So
Kate Daniels tropes because like, when I sit down and read a book, even if it's the
they
author
had
that I
like,
love, I try to forget the stuff that the author has written before, so that
well,
it's a
Byrne
fresh
for me
book to
has
me.
actual line for line Kate Daniel lines in it.
I didn't notice that.
Oh, I did. I did. The you will come to me, blah blah blah.
Oh yeah,
I can keep going. I'm not going to, but I can keep going.
I think they did that on purpose though.
There's a couple like a joke,
Mm-hmm.
possibly. I wish they hadn't though. I really wish they had, but then the part of the problem is we reread too much too.
Yeah, a little bit.
And most people who read this probably never even gonna read Kate Daniels. It's like it's not necessarily two different audiences, but it's almost two different audiences. Since Kate Daniel books are quite frankly sold in not just bookstores, but I've seen a Kate Daniels book for one of the earlier ones in the series on the shelves inside of a grocery store. So if you make it to the grocery stores, just saying.
I don't go to regular grocery stores.
I
That's the
used to not,
problem.
but I don't have this big of a garden anymore, so I actually have to go to grocery stores, which I hate because I hate walking through the meat aisle. It pisses me off.
See, I go to like 99 Ranch and the Greenland, which are like Asian groceries, because they're the
Yeah,
only places where I can get the fruits and vegetables that I like all year round.
it's like Eastern European is the only one we have in my area because we have a crap load of Russians. All right, so Hidden Legacy series and the Hidden Legacy series book 1, there was nothing I disliked about it except for just a tiny inkling, and I would say that's like it's one of the best first books I've read in a long time.
I agree with that
It
because
was
you know how I get turned off real fast if the first book is bad, and then you got to talk me into reading it again.
yeah, it was a masterpiece of a first book because it was just enough world building to eat a little bit, but it was a lot of character building, and you walk away knowing a lot about Nevada, not necessarily about Rogan. You learn a lot about the family, which I enjoy because I think that is actually, the book is called Hidden Legacy. And so, not to give everything away, but the family is the hidden legacy. So I loved it when she was very much focusing in on the family because the family is so interesting, with the exception of Byrne, who's sort of just nerdy. Byrne was the only one that wasn't really interesting, but you kind of have somebody, you kind of have to have somebody who's normal.
I feel like though that there's going to be more to him as he gets older, so I'd say just wait and see on him.
Like he has a second talent that we are not getting.
I think he's gonna. I think he's. It's gonna be like a Derek situation. We had to wait a little bit for Derek to truly bloom. The same with Byrne.
Well, Byrne's a nerd, so I'm not sure. Well, he is a big ass nerd though, so who knows? He's a big ass nerd. But I always saw this book going into like train robbing and hit and run jobs, and like I see so much that's
I
on
could
the
see them
table.
building their own mercenary army.
Yeah, I
With
see
grandma at the lead.
so much on the table is available for this series, and then it ends, and then you're like, oh, fuck you. uh, so we have White Hot. White Hot wasn't a good book, but it was a good book.
It was a good book, but it just felt
What book?
it gave me a weird feel. It didn't feel like it flowed with the first book well.
Well, there was a major rewrite. So the first book came out in 2014. The second book came out in 2017. The third book came out a couple months after 27, a couple more months after the first book because it was waiting. The publisher kept having to wait for the middle book because there were so many problems, and they kept rewriting it supposedly. So it makes me wonder about the series as a whole. Is that they had to rewrite it because for them, in order to write something like the way they write, they have to write a lot of lead.
Yeah.
They have to walk into their world, look around, and know what's happening, which is my guess because two people are working on the book and not one. That's just a guess though. And the problem with the series is that I think what the publisher wanted to buy was a paranormal romance, as I said before, but what they got was urban fantasy, which is what actually sells for this particular writing pair. Hello.
Because they do it well.
Because when they tried to write paranormal romance, it's the Edge series, and although it's highly popular series,
That Ed series.
it's just like it's very high. It has a very high rating. It really does. It doesn't do as well as the Kate Daniel series, but it has an extremely high rating. The Innkeeper Chronicles and the Hidden Legacy series is technically on Goodreads on pace to do better than it, I believe. It has the Hidden Legacy has 39,000 ratings. The Edge series has 70. So, and it's the Edge series is 4 books, and the Hidden Legacy series is 3. But at the same time, the Hidden Legacy series, they had 2 books practically on top of each other, and they've only recently come out within the last year. So there's people who are probably catching up on reading it because
Like I was mad at myself. Remember, like when I realized, I was like, "Wait, this is out! Oh, I missed the book. Gotta go get it."
yeah, I left a note on my Mistress of Reads OP account that, oh wow, the next book is coming out or something like that. I don't know what I said. All right, so I would say that White Hot wasn't the strongest book, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed where it was. I enjoyed where it was going. I I like the whole looking in. I like the whole concept of a dark horse in the family.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a child who basically can never marry the way he should. His children will never be acknowledged the way they should because they're like it reminds me of the whole Neji from Naruto.
Yeah.
The whole it's like they're creating a sub house inside of the house. So you can only have about 3 children if you're a house, the
If
main
you're
branch of the house.
the prime of the house is supposed to have at least 3 children.
Yeah. And all 3 children should be prime, or at least
It's
appear
to
to be
give them a
prime.
chance to have a prime.
Yeah, they should be appear to have prime. And if you do not have a prime child, if one of them turns out to be not a prime or worse yet, not even have magic, it it diminishes the marriage option for the for the children because it makes them a failing vector.
Yep.
Because the importance is always to retain power because more power, retaining power equals safety, and the continuation of your line equals safety. Okay, I think
Okay.
we got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Safety, safety. All right, white hot wildfire. So in Hidden and White Hot in Bird for Me, we have her running after running after a person who is hiding from people, and we get the tip off of this whole plot of this plot of the houses taking over the world finally because they should have taken over already, honestly, instead of having some sort of like they have a two governing systems technically working side by side. One that's governing the houses, and just as long as it stays house business, everything works out fine. Then they have a second system which is like a democracy, but it technically doesn't apply to the houses at all. Technically, well, what some of the people in the houses want is that they want to own everything. They want the whole pie, which is stupid because right now they have a good system. Managing people who don't have power when you have power, it's just a dictatorship and it just takes more involvement. If they were smart, they'd realize that they have everything now. It's sort of like a Brexit vote, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a Brexit vote moment. When you realize that you had the best possible deal that you could ever have, you had your own little system inside of a system and nobody was really bothering you technically except for in small ways, and then you vote to leave and then you have to actually create everything and do everything yourself and redo everything, and they don't realize that because they're just idiots. but but instead of just going out to your own democracy, they're like going out to some sort of house system dictatorship against the regular humans, and it's like
Yeah.
all that's going to
Basically,
happen is that the humans will rise up and start killing anybody with magical powers. It's like, duh.
that's usually history. That's
Yeah,
usually
it's
what
like, duh.
happens.
Like, duh. Hold on, let me close this thing. Oh my god, keep talking, keep talking.
Keep talking, keep talking. But no, with what's been going on so far, as you're going through the book, you're going to see different stronger dynamics that are going to play out, and you're going to see a little bit of like the dominant houses and what's expected, and explain it like genetically, and what makes you a worthy match, what makes a worthy match for you, how it affects your kids and stuff like that, which is it's an underlining but really important part of the paranormal romance portion of the series.
Yeah, yeah. There's not there's less than you think in the first book, but it's a competent story, well told, with interesting action scenes,
Yes.
with some sort of steamy moments of chemistry. There's actual chemistry between the two, which is important. Like you read a lot of books and there's no goddamn chemistry.
I love the way they fight. Like I really do. I love the way they fight with each other.
I like when they finally get into the circles and the whole. I love magic, and when they do like an alchemy sort of magic where there's magical circles and circles, it's like that's the one thing I loved about Kim Harris. It's like I love freaking circle. I love the drawing aspects of magic when it's like majory and other stuff. All right, let's get back into what we're getting into. Let's get on to the get on.
Get
Okay,
on to get on.
so we have hot, which is white hot, which is we figure out we in Burn for Me we figure out the whole plot of what's going on and that there's a bigger conspiracy, and
Yes.
in White Hot we get the tip off of that conspiracy of
Also, in the first book, um, Nevada realizes there's a little bit more to her powers.
yes, yes, yes. She believed that she was a truth seeker, which is a person who just a mobile lie detector,
But
which
there's
is
more.
she also, in order to use her mobile lie detector tower, she actually didn't have to exhibit any experience to use it. It just worked. So it's like a light. It's like a light always on for her.
Yeah.
She has no understanding about how
In
that works.
fact, if I remember correctly, the it's actually considered her latent ability.
It's a side effect. Yeah.
Like it's not, it's not like her main ability, and she's just learning about this because Matt Rogan has decided to take it upon himself to give her a crash course on being a prime in an hour.
Yeah. And she got shockers installed in her. And we forgot about the shockers.
Oh, the shockers, which also adds, which gets they get an additional like jolt because of her power.
Yeah.
So she can only use her shockers on another prime.
Or a significant. They said don't use your powers on anybody lower than a significant.
Guess she could kill them.
Yeah. So a prime or significant. All right. So,
So
and
book
there's a lot of
two.
significants running around. If you're a significant, it's not really a bad thing. It's not a good thing, but it's not a bad thing. They're
So book
useful.
two, we're getting deeper into the conspiracy. Her grandma appears, the other grandma, not Grandma Frida, and
Grandma appears in White Hot.
so yeah, because we moved on to White Hot. You
Yeah.
started. Okay.
Grandma appears in White Hot because she decided to be a good guy. I think
Buds start clinching. People are getting scared. She realizes that she can only hide for so long now.
yes, because her powers. She's an open secret too. Even before she did that whole, lucha libre, lucha libre significant thing, the lucha libre,
The
crusade
green
that she did
lady.
to find the little girl who went missing.
Yeah.
Before she even did that, it was an open secret that Mad Rogan and also Augustine, which is the creepy ass dude who owns her business, or who owns the loan on her business. Excuse me.
Now, here in book two, yeah, Cornelius, who helped her in book one, who was the childhood babysitter of Adam Pierce in book one, his wife has been killed. And he needs her help finding the killer who he plans to kill himself.
Yes.
And like and you get more, even a little bit more information even into Cornelius and his ability, which is he's an animal mage,
Do you
which is
think the little
really
girl is
cool.
actually a prime? His daughter's a prime, isn't she?
Yeah, but I don't know if it's necessarily an animal mage. Like I think she could be something else. Like the mother wasn't she like a significant like mind mage?
She was a significant something. But I think that the little girl is actually a prime of something, though. Because she's a weird little girl.
Yes, she is. And she's very knowing.
Yeah,
Not Angie baby knowing, but she's knowing.
like Children of the Corn moment, but
Yeah.
also cute, like cute Children of the Corn.
That so like you reach Cornelius and you see that Cornelius isn't just like the straight guy that stands in the background, but he's actually like
Caring.
he's caring, he's innovative. He's like a Dr. Doolittle / MacGyver.
But you
Like
also get the feeling that he's a stay-at-home mom. But you also get the feeling that he's a dad mom. You also get the feeling that he he didn't know what he wanted to be until he met her.
yes.
He didn't have a place for himself. And it wasn't because his family was rejecting him for not being a prime. It was he was already rejecting himself from the family even before he found his wife.
Well, because he was always Adam's babysitter, and then he got away from being Adam's babysitter to be
He was
his
always the
his wife's
sacrificed one.
husband.
In his family, he was always the one that got sacrificed.
And yeah, now he's breaked out on his own, and he realized that he loved the work that he was doing with Nevada and want to continue doing it,
Yeah,
which
I'm
is pretty
actually
cool.
surprised about how much I like his sister, who is the prime of the house.
I expected her to be a bitch, and
No,
she
I
really
enjoy
was.
her.
It was really cool with the whole what is this? What is she doing? I think
I actually enjoy. I
bonding.
think though that
Oh,
all animal mages don't relate well to people. They relate better to animals.
that makes a lot of sense.
And so even when it comes to other people, like their brothers and sisters and things like that, there's like this whole sort of like there's this sort of blind spot for them when it comes to
Yeah.
people. When it comes to little people too, it seems. And so, and I think so even more so in that family because it was so connected to the other house that's a crazy ass house.
Yeah.
The whole
The Pierce clan.
that whole incident with that kid who was just running around killing people.
Yeah.
What's his name? Adam
Adam
Levine.
Pierce. You
Adam
want to call him
Pierce.
Adam
Thank you.
Levine, but that's the lead singer of Maroon
Yeah.
5.
I actually thought that's what he looked like.
I pictured him that way too, so it's okay.
Adam Pierce. So Adam Pierce was a psychopath, and I think like the whole psycho nature of him reverberated throughout their lives.
This is a book that I kind of want to like do a dreamcast too, like who I'd want to see as whom. So like, yeah, Adam Levine is gonna be in here.
I don't know. Mad Rogan, that whole boob thing ruined me. The whole
Um,
wandering boob from
but
Hidden Legacy.
as I picture like Mad Rogan, I actually kind of see Thor, short haired Thor. I'm such a terrible person with names. It wasn't Liam. Liam's the younger brother. The guy who plays Thor. I could see him with short hair playing Mad Rogan.
Yeah, I can see it too. He actually looks better with short hair than he does with long hair.
Yeah.
Especially since he uses extensions half the time now instead of growing it out like a real man.
For
Grow that shit
Nirvana,
out.
oddly enough, for Nevada, there's an actress I saw. Well, it was NCIS Cybercrimes. Um,
Uh,
what is her name? I think she would look good as Nevada. She's a little thing. She's multi-heritaged, which
mm,
kind of fits the Nevada's thing a little bit.
mm. I
And
just
she has
find
that light blonde hair.
I find the whole thing just really. I never really enjoyed Mad Dog Rogan after the Wandering Boob cover of Hidden Legacy. If you check our album art, our picture art thingy that we have up, you'll notice that the middle cover I have covered up completely because if you look it up, he actually has a wandering boob. And if you see that wandering boob, it ruins the whole sexual attraction you have for a character. Because all you'll ever see, even though he looks nothing like them, is that boob that is in the wrong place.
Haley Kayoko, that's her name.
Okay.
She played Raven.
Right, back on topic. Uh, I think in the first book, Nevada really realizes that she's an actual prime and that she has real power. And Mad Dog Rogan, sent her the books to learn it. She's been learning it. She's been learning the books, but he also didn't contact her, which I don't understand why he didn't contact her. At least once he could have sent her a text.
Because he's an awkward man. He doesn't know anything about romance or relationships
Then bitch a
except for
text.
what was like dictated to him.
Send her a text. He really didn't. He didn't contact her for like 3 months or 6 months or something like that.
It was like 3 months or something like that. It wasn't for a while. And as a bar, he's an awkward dude. Like you can't really fault him for that.
No, you can't. All right, so we got a very interesting story, very enjoyable story. I loved what was going on. I know you didn't like it, but I liked it because it really, for me, it was like, whoa, there's more here than meets the eye. We also got the introduction of the grandmother and that first
It's
scene
not
with the
that I
grandma.
didn't like it. It's just that it flowed weird for me. It's a good book. I did give it a 4 out of 5, but it was just a weird
So,
vibe.
okay, then we have a third book. This is Wildfire. Wildfire is where it all comes together. This is the book that it actually all makes sense, and we get springboarded into a world where we jump off the springboard into the pool, and unfortunately, it's filled with ice water and ice. large ice chunks that kill us when we jump off. Because we cannot enter the pool. We get in Wildfire, we get the knowledge of what is it, Arabelle's power? No,
No,
it's not Arabelle. Arabelle is a
Catalina's.
siren. Arabelle is a
Catalina.
siren.
No,
Catalina,
Arabelle is the beast.
Arabelle's the
Catalina
beast.
is the siren.
Yeah, Arabelle's the beast, and Catalina is the shy one, and Arabelle's the outgoing one, right?
Yeah.
But Arabelle is the one who doesn't think shit out, and she's also technically the one that the most dangerous one according to the government.
Yes.
Because she was completely unstoppable, technically.
Well, oh god, this is a big spoiler.
We're in the spoiler alert section, so fuck everybody. We told you.
The woman who carried their father in her womb as a surrogate was not controllable. So they wanted to make sure that Arabella was controllable. So I actually love the scene where like they're going through their trial test and they make her do math.
Yes.
And she's going through and so it was like, this is why Common Core doesn't work. And so that was just, there's nothing wrong with Common Core. And she's writing out in beast form, this sucks. And continues on with the math problems.
Yeah, but when they were doing the math problem, even before I was like, oh, this is going to be a problem. Because they said early on that Arabelle had school issues. Remember?
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way she could do this. Why don't they just have her write an essay? They're like, no, because math is the language of intelligence or something like that. And I was like,
math is the language of reasoning.
Yeah, reasoning. Yeah, it's just just have her write an essay, dude. Just do yourself a favor.
It's like, can we pass her now? Because any longer,
just pass her. Just pass her. And in the last book, we ran into his old flame, which is an empath, and her crazy ass mother. But I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, so we have to go. See,
I'm not entirely sure that.
Tell me, because you moved forward to Wildfire and then you skipped back to White Hot.
Honestly, I think White Hot and Wildfire were the same book originally.
Well, okay, so in White Hot is where we meet the former fiance and her psychotic mother, and you find out that the mother is deep all up in that conspiracy.
Do you think that the mother really wanted to be that big of a part of this conspiracy?
I do. I think that she looked her nose down on people that weren't as significant as her. Like, she even made her own daughter seem insignificant, even though her daughter was a prime.
Yeah, but her daughter wasn't the right kind of prime.
No, her daughter had some genetic issues.
Yeah,
so that her children
lottery issues, which would make her a good genetic life.
Her kids would have been wild cards, but her kids are already showing. Which also tells us, we also learn about Byrne's ability, which is what is it, a patternizer?
But we also find out in Wildfire, that in Wildfire that the mother knew that the child was probably a prime.
Yeah.
She knew the power.
Yes.
So, I mean, what was she doing in the conspiracy?
Well,
everything worked out.
Well, she is an empath.
Yeah, but the mother was in the conspiracy. But maybe the mother was in the conspiracy prior to her finding somebody actually to marry, right? Maybe that's what's going on.
See, I don't know. I think that's going too deep into it. I don't think the conspiracy itself is that old, because it wouldn't make so many waves. So, like right now, for it to have been such a long coming thing.
If the conspiracy was well organized and it's been working for a while, it wouldn't have been so damn sloppy.
I think maybe it was like maybe the past several years that it built to this point. I wouldn't say it was something that went decades, but I do think that I could see her mother even being involved in a conspiracy to like get back at Mad Rogan for not marrying her daughter.
That I believe that more than I believe we believe her doing it because like they said that she might have done it because she felt it was unfair that her daughter could not marry, did not have more marriage offers than she got. So in a sense, Mad Rogan was a catch.
Her daughter's husband was a total prick.
I just her daughter's husband wasn't just a prick. He didn't make any goddamn sense.
And it's like when they pointed out the thing with because the husband who you actually
The
are supposed
tree,
to be looking for in book 3, he was a plant mate specializing in fungus.
mushrooms,
His brother was specialized in fruit trees.
the tree. Yeah,
And with the mushrooms like killing the apple tree, like that kind of showed you that was a big foreshadowing of the person that you were actually dealing with.
but from the get go, you knew that there was something not right with the husband from the get go.
Oh, see, with the tree thing is where I get that. Well, that and he always ran off when he couldn't deal.
That's
He ran
what's
away.
weird is the running off thing. The running off thing combined with her not understanding what was going on, which that's what made the whole relationship weird. She's a fucking empath and she doesn't understand his feelings.
She didn't try to. She said that she stopped reading his feelings after a while, and that maybe she should have continued to read his feelings to check in.
When somebody's running off in a hissy fit, you need to check if you have the power. I mean, unless you made an agreement that that's a private thing in advance,
Yeah,
which
but
I
there's no
don't.
secrets in a marriage, so
Honestly, it would have been better if they treat the husband as a sperm donor. But even then, I mean, the whole thing with the husband was just really, really weird.
he was a really shitty human being.
I love when
So
he just walks out like, "You're here to save me." I was like, it was like he didn't know what was going on. Do you remember?
and everyone was just like, "Bitch, please."
He was walking out like, oh, you're here to save me. Oh, you love me. You still love me, and like nobody knew what was going on. It was like, ugh. And the dude just pulled the sword and killed him.
Yeah.
It was like, thank you. I really said I rarely said that in the book where it just said thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew Pear. Thank you. Oh my god. Oh Lord.
But that like the third book was so great. Like the action was awesome.
The grandmas, both grandmas were amazing.
Both grandmas. So like of course my all-time favorite scene in the book was when she's extracting information from the dude. She's drawing her circles. She has the dude that's looking at her to make her his little wifey. And
Yes.
he's all like, "You need to stop her. You have to stop her. She doesn't have the training. She's not strong enough." And grandma number 2 is like, "Get this weakling out of here." I was like, "Yes, go, grandma."
You know, and it should have been a tip off to him, but because like I think that Rogan and her are beyond prime level. Like they categorize things as prime, not prime, but there's another level besides prime.
Yes. Now, see, that's another thing. Like his, what ticked me off with him was him saying, "I could kill you," blah blah blah. And the thing is, like, he already instantly underestimated her without knowing anything about her. He just knows she didn't have training, but he didn't actually try to gauge what her actual ability was.
Well, she stopped trying to play his game. She
Yeah.
didn't want to give him that information. She
And
didn't
he
want.
already had to accept that she was somewhat strong because she was unconsciously using her family's power. So it was like, but he just wanted to have like a little woman that was gonna like sit there
He
and
needed a broom. He needed a broodmare with guaranteed primes.
yeah. and
Yeah.
she showed him that that wasn't going to happen.
He wanted a broodmare with guaranteed primes, and also he wanted broodmare guaranteed primes, and also he wanted to be in the alpha position. He wanted to be the most powerful, the one that she looked after and primped after. Like, are you feeling okay? you know, the chick I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I
where
can't
she's
stand that
constantly
chick.
looking in on his health and whatnot, and he's basically saying nothing to her.
Yeah, just
A
just there to
fluffer,
make babies and to make him feel better about himself, and that's pretty
fluffing.
much it.
He's fluffing. She doesn't even realize that she's both the main event and the fluffer because he's not doing anything
I
for her.
actually dated a guy that was like that, like, and he didn't start off like that. And I think it's because he expected, because I was like, oh, because I'm a fat girl from Jersey, that I wasn't going to have that big educational background. I wasn't going to be intelligent. I wasn't going to be strong. And when we started dating and getting deeper into a relationship, and he saw me doing my thing and doing my hustle, it was, I think that maybe you should like start working as a translator, and I think maybe like you should focus on taking care of the kids, because I had my kid and he had his kid, and shit like that, and like that is it might work for some women, but it doesn't work for me. And like,
I got nothing against the women who love to caregive. I had nothing against the women who love to caregive.
I can't do it.
In this story, it was funny for the guy's expectation because to finish the scene off,
She's the head of her family, like, already.
to
Like,
finish the scene off,
go ahead, sorry.
well, what he wanted to do was just swallow her family and make them a supplicant vassal house or what is it
Yeah,
called?
it's
A
a
vassal
vassal.
house.
Yeah.
And so he wanted to make them a vassal house, and he was going to guard her family, but there was no way he could have kept her safe against the grandma. What he was offering was something he couldn't give.
But I don't think she even needed really to be safe against the grandmother, because like the grandmother eventually just accepted, fine, you're to be your own house. It's preposterous, it's stupid, but whatever. But
But
those
we
are
don't
still
find
her
out that
grand.
the grandma cares about the line not being controlled by somebody else is what she really cares about more than
Yeah.
she cares about the house name itself.
Yes.
Because what she was trying to do with the son was make him strong enough to withstand
The other
what was
houses.
going to happen, even though he didn't have magical powers, which was fucking cruel as fuck. He would have
True,
been.
but if you look at the world that they're in, they're constantly at war. Be it the countries, be it house against house, they're constantly in a state of war. Which, that's why actually Matt Rogan is the way that he is. Other than the trauma that he has already had to go through, especially going to war at such a young age, but they are constantly at war. There was like what, 2 3 war treaties and declarations like signed within
Yeah,
Wildfire
when
between
they when they
houses.
went to the council house, you actually saw the movers and shakers. This was in the last book, and you saw
Yeah.
just the tip off of what a house system looks like.
Yes.
We didn't get into it, but we saw a little tiny bit of it,
Well,
and
Nevada
it
does have powerful
was
friends.
it was a fucked up system of government that they made work. Because right now, like it or not, even with the house system, everything in the country runs okay, right? It's
Yes.
not wonderful, but it runs.
She has two of the most powerful primes as her witnesses, which means that there are also people that are going to help her guide her house, with Rogan and Duncan. And I think that's going to help her in the long run. Though I think there is more to Duncan than meets the eye. I'm calling this one, since we were in the spoiler mode. I'm pretty sure he's the head of the conspiracy,
The speaker, yeah.
former speaker.
It's either the former speaker or the keeper of keys dude.
Dude, that keeper, man, I don't know what he is, but like when they were like darkness fills the room, I was like, shit. No
it's
good's
it,
coming from this.
it's somebody high enough up that, let's say, the Caesar, which is the head of the conspiracy, it's somebody high enough up that they bring fear to everybody.
Now, also with the concept that they've mentioned more than once of a dark horse, it could be a house's dark horse. And I'll be really angry if it turns out to be some trope shit where it's like her father faked his death. And he was actually a dark horse. I'll be mad as hell. I'm just saying.
Well, they said because he had 3 different lines inside of him that nothing could emerge.
True. But anything is possible in a magical world.
True.
So, like, yeah.
Could have had genetic manipulation to suppress one of them, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so I'll be
The
really
way that
mad if they do that.
the way that they originally described the father was that there was some sort of genetic manipulation, but there wasn't. She literally raped the baby into a woman. She took her egg, she got some sperm in a cup, and she stuffed it into an unconscious woman, which is just monstrous. It's just really monstrous.
It was monstrous alone that the
So
woman was
monstrous.
kept unconscious.
What was that?
It says monstrous alone that the woman is kept unconscious.
Yes, but to do that to her on top of being unconscious,
True.
it's just monstrous. It's so wrong. It's so wrong, but it brings such a smile to my face.
Now, here's another interesting little tidbit of fun. Now, she has several primes within one household. With Leon being a dark horse, there's only one significant, which is Byrne.
The mother. What is the mother?
The mother isn't even a significant.
There's another name for what she is, though.
Insignificant.
There's a name for what she is, though. I forgot what it's called.
I thought the tier under significant was insignificant.
Is it?
I am pretty sure. I could be wrong.
Sometimes I wish that when we jump off into these new series that don't actually finish, I kind of wish that they would have put a key in there. It's like, put a key in there. But I think there is actually a name for it. I just don't remember what it is.
But yeah, so you have Nevada, who's a prime. You have Catalina, who's a prime. You have Arabella, who's a prime. You have Leon, who's a prime, and you have Byrne, who's a significant. And I would like more of Leon and Byrne's backstory. What's their deal?
The mother that is like a drug addict or something?
Yeah. Like I want there's more to this story. As considering their powers too.
A prime and a significant, random prime and a random significant. Yeah.
And then one's a patronizer and the other one is what the hell, they actually had the name for it.
The grandma is a significant, isn't she?
The Grandma Frida?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know what? They might not have been able to.
But
they
like
both have weird powers, though.
Yeah, Leon's thing is predicts trajectory, and then you have Byrne, who's a patronizer, and it's just like, where did those genes come from?
Well, there's a lot on the table. There certainly is a lot on the table, and I'm not sure that we see both of Byrne's powers, that his real power might not have come out.
That's a possibility too. But normally primes show as children, but maybe it could be a Nevada kind of situation,
or a Leon kind of
where
situation.
He hasn't opened up.
A Nevada or a Leon situation. Leon, in order for your prime ability to show up, you have to be put in the prime situation for your ability to show up. So if you're not picking up a gun constantly and it being pointed out, Leon would never have known. So if his family was like a
and Nevada's mom knew about Leon's ability a long time ago.
Yeah.
and didn't say anything. All
Yeah.
these secrets.
The family is a secret upon a secret.
Well, the mother kind of irks me a little bit though, because it was she's like, we'll run, we'll run, we'll run. It's like you completely just went irrational. Yeah, God damn it, you're a
See,
sergeant. You were stuck in a hole. You survived all this shit, and then you go irrational.
I kind of don't blame her because the more I learn about the grandmother, the more disturbed I am by her.
See, I don't know. I actually could see it as I don't know. As
I
a
see
mom,
her as
I could burn. I could see me burning
I
the
see
world to
her
find my only child.
I see her as an unlikely ally that's completely misunderstood.
Roland all over again, but female, and I feel a little bit more dangerous.
And less weird. Less weird. She makes more
Yes,
sense than Roland.
yes, she does.
Roland doesn't make any sense.
Roland's like, cause I feel like it. Grandma's like, no. See, this is why we're gonna do this.
Why did you write all over your impregnated daughter to show off to the mother and then kill the mother? Why did you do that? Why didn't you just let her be born normal?
He just made her more powerful for the sake of making her more powerful, and then felt threatened by her.
Yeah, it's like, and then link your immortality to her because that made sense. Because you sat there writing on her while she was in her womb because. Not that I don't find that an interesting story unto itself, but at the same time, why'd you do that?
But then, like, yeah, grandma here in grandma number two here in Wildfire, and there's multiple reasonings, and it really just comes down to she didn't want her grandchildren to be under someone else's thumb. I think it was like her only way that she knew how to protect them. I think that's what it is. Because when it came down to it, and they were after Nevada, like grandma snapped and then laughed while she kicked their asses, and then quietly and calmly turned herself in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I give her respect for that. I don't think that she is the bad person, and there's always two sides to every story, and that um I think that Nevada's mother only knew one side of the story. Like what a child perceives and a parent's reasoning are usually two completely different spectrums.
I think it was just an untenable position. I would agree with you. It was an untenable position no matter what you did because a human being does not survive well in that world, period.
Yes.
The end. And the fact that she was putting a standard human, standard box human into that world and she was thrusting that human into the world, that's a huge issue.
Well, I think she knew he was going to make prime children, and he
Well, she
had to
knew
be able to prepare and maintain the house
and
for those children.
keep the prime children safe until they reached the ability to test for a prime. And she may or may not have been alive when that happened.
Yes.
But the problem is that it was an untenable position. You can't. What she did was she would have been better off hiding his existence from anybody until he was old enough, than stealing some more cup in the sperm and putting another pregnant person into that womb and creating her little prime. Do you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
bringing the father out later. What she did was well, technically she didn't reveal him
No, she
because nobody
didn't.
knew he was missing and nobody knew about him.
Because when she burnt the world, no one knew what
Looking
she was
for him,
looking
nobody knew
for.
about him. So she was actually executing the plan. But the problem is that there was actually, I would say again, it was an untenable position. It was completely just, you can't, what she wanted to do was something that you couldn't technically do because because he was a male, his sperm was the special juice. And it put her line at risk, and it also gave them access to two other lines by just capturing him.
Yes. So I
So
just
she
think they're just
made
trying to protect her child, but in the wrong way.
it. I think she was actually trying to protect her child in the right way because the child technically shouldn't have existed.
She wanted a child badly, and not even, and she even said herself, not because of the houses or anything else. She just wanted a child. And 13 miscarriages can make a woman a little crazy. Just saying.
True. True.
But
True. True.
there's so much depth to this third book, and like it makes you want more. And maybe they did this on purpose so that we're clamoring for more, so that the publisher's like, you know what, let's extend this, because they do have the
Um,
option to extend.
I think that though that they're partially moving into controlling more of their product and just dumping the publisher, which is part of the issue here. I don't think that they, at this point in their career, I don't think, well, now that the house is gone because of the storm, perhaps, now that they're
They were
getting the hell
playing
out
the
of
move
Houston, maybe
before
that
the
will
storm.
change. But,
They were playing the move before the storm.
oh, okay. Well, did they already sell the house?
I don't know. I was just they're vague in their blogs, and I'm not all up in their business like that. But it looked like they were already playing the move before the storm.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did really enjoy the whole entire thing. I think this is the most visually delicious book they've ever written.
I can agree with that.
It is also the love interest. I'm so about, but I think it's the PTSD and all the other stuff is interesting with him. I think that's an interesting
Well,
sort
see,
of
a thing that makes him distinctly not Curran, because I mean we're going to compare the books, like it's just a given, is that like Curran had issues, but Curran's Curran was like the strong stoic that controlled his issues. You know, she never really knew until it was like the last minute or whatever. And he always like just kind of kept her in the dark of things. Hell, she still doesn't even know what their actual net worth is. you know, and but with this, Nevada is very aware of what's going on with her partner. She's catching on, and she knows when to talk him down. So that's why she addresses him by Mad Rogan or by Connor, and she switches back and forth.
or dragon.
Or the dragon, yes.
I see dragons in people too, so I know what she's talking about. When somebody's got their dragon out, you know when somebody's got their dragon out. If they're the right type of person. I've got a dragon in my life. I know exactly what she's talking about.
I'm a dragon.
But I
And
do
not just
enjoy
saying
this
that, I'm
series.
actually born the year of the dragon and gave birth to a dragon, god damn it. So we're a dragon household and we battle.
I think that this would make a really good like graphic novel. I think that that's where it should technically, if they do decide to do it, that's where they should go. Like get a really gritty graphic novelist together and create the graphic novel. You know, if you get the rights back, because it's well worth it. And if you do a Patreon and you offer a graphic novel, you know, be creative, be different. I mean, you have a huge audience, a huge plugged in audience. You know, take the gift that the publishers have, you know, the kingdom that you and the publishers have crafted and do something different and interesting and fun. You know, now that you can do something different, interesting, and fun. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
did you ever see the Mercy Thompson graphic novel, which wasn't really done very well?
Yes.
Don't
I
do
actually
that.
did.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Hire somebody who's competent, sit down with them and talk, you know? But it's so very visually pleasing. It's so very visually pleasing because you can do so much because there's so many visual, versatile moments in there, visceral, viscerally visual moments that you could do an easy graphic novel and it won't just be people standing around talking, you know?
Yes.
And I think that's the problem with Mercy Thompson is that the Mercy Thompson graphic novel in that first book, it's a lot of standing around and talking, which really does not work well in a graphic novel. Does not work well at all.
Not at all. So, yes, Mr. and Mrs. Gordon, Ilona Andrews pair, please Hook us up. Give us more. Answer our questions. What I also do love about this writing pair is they do very much interact with their fans. They don't feel that they are above their fans, like a certain author whose books I don't want to go back and reread. That this winch is probably going to trick me into rereading them.
I'm not gonna. You don't have to reread them. I'm rereading them right now, but you don't have to read them. We're just gonna talk about them and get that out because I want to have. I'm trying to create like a little playlist so that when we talk about newer urban fantasy books, we can send you to the playlist to listen to old episodes if you're a new person to the series, which we have. Thank you, 10 new subscribers within the time we were away, and I don't know how we got that. I think we got them through Goodreads, but thank you again for subscribing.
Yeah, thank you. And stay with us. I promise we're not a train wreck currently. Currently being the magic word. But yeah, it's definitely it's a good series. There's so much more we haven't even touched on yet. Just if you haven't yet, go read the book. I mean, like honestly, people who haven't read the book yet that are still listening, they're probably like me, where they don't. You can't really ruin a book for me, because it's okay if I know where it begins. It's okay if I know where it ends. The important part for me is the how and the why. And this series has left me with a lot of like why. So hook us up. I'll
Yeah,
make
I'm
you cookies,
100.
baklava,
Listen, I'm
crepes.
ready for you. My body's ready for anything you want to do with this series. Just be kind. Be kind. Be kind. Don't hurt me. Be kind. Um, but I want to see what you want to do, and I want to see. I want to jump off and finally be able to dive in the pool because I think this is like at least 7 books.
Yeah,
7 more books. At least 7 more books in the series.
I can see that.
I can see because we haven't explored
They could
grandmas.
even pull it up to 8 to add more side story.
Yeah, we haven't explored the Leon, which is the Leon Byrne book with the drug addict mommy. Because Leon and Byrne have the same father, don't they?
I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to find out more about that. As
We know
well
a bit
as
about Rogan, but I would like to get like more in depth with his history.
we also have we also have we also have
Cornelius.
we also have the mother, the sergeant. I think she's running from something besides the grandma
I could see that. I could see that.
because they are in a way in hiding.
It just makes
They
me wonder what
carefully
else I wonder what else the mother is hiding.
Yeah, they're carefully avoiding the police. Even after the whole thing comes out, she's still very carefully trying to avoid. It's too
Well,
late. What is
now
she?
that they're a house, like she doesn't have to worry about the police as much because the police are just like, yeah, you know what? That's house drama. That is yo shit. Go
Well,
deal with it.
but she's careful. She's running and hiding from something else going on, and there's something else going on with that family. That family is like a treasure trove of
There's
secrets.
something that Nevada and no one else knows because the mother's too irrational.
There's something going on, and I realized that she was hurt, and there's something going on, and there's something going on with that whole military thing too, with both the sergeant and Rogan.
But also, like, which kind of leads me to that trope that I really hope doesn't happen with the way the mother is irrational about her running. Like,
Yep, time to go. Whoop, time to go.
what if there's more?
Gotta go.
Yeah. It,
I just I love the blossoming of the mother's ability as well. The whole sniper mom thing that she has going on and the blossoming of the sniper mom abilities. It's just really interesting.
what does she do during the day? Because most of the time Nevada finds her on her sniper perch.
She's literally freaking out. She's not living normally ever since the grandmother and the Mad Rogan came in. She's constantly in the sniper post and looking to snipe, and that's why she
I
has
think
a
she was
bigger
leaked
limp.
up before that.
That's why she has a bigger limp than she used to. As soon as she took that one job that she got pushed into, she's been acting weird. So we never get a normal sniper mom.
No, she's always on
One,
guard.
yeah, she's on guard now because of the first book. We never once she. You remember that weird sort of uh, she turned and looked at her all weird. It was like I in my head I saw it as like the that sort of lizard people look. When somebody's like, "What did you say?" That's when she started going weird, and that came super early on in the series. So, and she's been limping. Her limp has been exaggerated since. So that means she's been sniper momming. That's what she's implying because sniper mom is in her roost, constantly be sniping. She's
Yeah.
always be sniping.
Yeah, I think there's
She's.
more to this paranoia. So
I
well,
think there's more to sniper mom. I definitely think there's more to sniper mom. There's more to the grandma too.
I'm telling you, do not let the father come back from the dead in front of like they went through all this shit after he faked his death in some other business. Like I will lose it. I will absolutely lose it.
I'm pretty sure he's in the ground.
I hope so, but there's more to this story, and I just hope that that's not it. So yeah, I think we covered everything.
Yeah, I think we have this. This series is not a dud.
No, not at all.
This series is must read. It's cha cha cha.
Just don't look at the covers. Just don't look at the covers. It's okay.
Just get the covers. I will create you a new cover. I will put a new
There
cover
are
in your
books
mind.
that I have to ignore the cover just to read. Like just ignore the cover.
It's okay. It's okay. The
If
the
I look
last
at the
cover where he finally has a shirt on is the best cover.
no, it's still the wrong hair color.
It's still the wrong cover hair color for both of them.
Yeah.
At least he has a fucking shirt on.
So it's like,
And
honestly, if I looked at the covers, I would never become a Ilona Andrews fan. So just don't look at the covers.
I've never seen anybody have such. I've never seen a best-selling author have such poor covers.
Did
Like
I
I've
tell you that
seen,
Wildfire was on the bestsellers list?
isn't it? It
It, it
it
went it,
has it.
it went on like right away too, like right after its debut.
Let me see. The publisher is Avalon for this one.
Avon.
Avon, is it Avon? Oh, sounds like a fucking. That's not a really good name.
Avon's always
Hello
had
publisher, not a good name. There's already an Avon.
yeah, same company. They've had their own publishing house for a really long time.
It's the same company.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh wait, and I've actually never seen them. I thought they were under Tor, but with those covers, no wonder. And then Magic Bites series, the only Magic Bites is this is just me being dorky right now. Ace. The Ace covers were slightly better than the Avon covers, but still not so good. Still not so good. Not so good, gal. Not so good. All right. So I want to thank you for joining us. We will try and do just like a roundabout sort of what's going on next week. Probably on
Yeah.
Friday, probably around the same time, hopefully, if everything works out. But we will get it done next week. If there's anything you would like us to talk about, we'll talk about it. We want to talk about it. We'd love
Yes,
to
we
talk
do.
about it.
We obviously love to
Mm-hmm.
talk. Have you heard us?
Yes. Now we will get into romance probably after we do the hollows, and we will find something romantic-y, erotic-y, chick-lit-y. We
Can we
haven't
do
done a lot of chick
something?
lit.
Can we do something that doesn't involve daddy issues?
It's hard to find. Okay, then we can't read chick lit. The
There
chick
are
lit.
some chick flicks out there that aren't revolved around daddy issues.
No, some of them are revolved around mommy issues instead. You just walked right into that one though. You know what? Maybe we should read One Salt Sea. The I never finished off the
The
October
new
Day stuff.
October, I would say the new October Day book is coming out like next week.
Well, why don't we read the? Well, we'll do the hollows because I'm in the middle of the hollows, and I just want to get that done and over with because I didn't finish it. And we have a new hollows coming out, and I want to put something in the hollows
I
because
guess I could read The Turn because I
no,
believe
I
that's
don't.
the
I'm not
latest
reading the
one.
turn. Number one, I think the whole tomatoes killing everybody thing is stupid. It's funny, but it's stupid. And I'm not reading it. I'm not reading it. It's not going to happen. And we have, so we have a couple of things on our docket. I think we should probably do October Day. Maybe we already did Alex Craft, and I will go ahead and put that in the playlist.
Yeah, another book I need to catch up on.
But I think there's a new Alex Craft.
Grave Ransom, I think it's
I'm
called.
not sure. We will try and track down something chick litty we can
I'm
read.
currently
And
reading Alpha and Omega, so we
well,
can
we already
also
talked
discuss.
about that already.
Well,
So
we talked about
yeah.
Mercy, but we didn't get that deep into Alpha and Omega.
Well, I sort of interwoved it in places, even though you didn't realize I did. But I interwove some of it. But I don't know if we're gonna do a side one special for just that one. But I would like to. But I don't know if we can. But we do
I
have
guess I
the
do
Alex
too.
Craft grade brand something, and I think we might just talk about it in general,
I have
like
to
on
read
one of
it.
our roundtable ones if we get to it, but not create a whole new,
Yeah.
rundown because we've already done it.
There's also, I think, it's
But
Chronicles of Nick coming out, which I know isn't your shtick, but it is my shtick. So
we'll talk about it. Like we'll talk about things that aren't our sticks in the roundtable things and just books we read.
okay, we can do that. Well, there's too much silence, so I think it is time to go. To say goodbye to our listeners who are crazy enough to listen to
Yes,
us.
instead of getting sucked into work crap, I will say goodbye. I will say goodbye, and I will see you next week.
Bye bye, everybody. See you next
Have
week.
a nice read.
Don't do anything I would do because it would probably get you arrested.
If you do,
At
use a
least in
condom.
40, at least in 40 of the 50 states, they'll
Use a
get you
condom,
arrested.
and don't be afraid of lube. Lube is your friend. Never walk away from never walk away. Don't swing your sheetic and think that you can do everything without lube. Lube is okay, no matter what your age is. Lube it. I don't care if it's a door or a whore. Lube it.
I swear,
Okay.
like the Oprah of sex, lube for you, lube for you, lube for everyone.
Just like always be lubing because a lot of people don't realize that you always wish you had lube when you should have used it. So,
Oh my god.
so lube is your friend. We're not sponsored by lube, but lube is your friend. That's the more you know lesson today.
I don't think I want to be sponsored by lube. Of all things, I don't think I want lube sponsorship.
I wouldn't mind because I don't see anything wrong with lube. It is for doors. It
I'm
is
saying
for
if we're going,
whores.
okay, I'm saying like if we're going to go for that route, I'd rather have just a full Adam and Eve sponsorship.
No, I want lube because there is nothing wrong with lube. A good
But
edible
Adam and
lube.
Eve has everything. They have lube, they have toys, they have costumes. Like I'm just saying, something
I
for
want the
everyone.
lube. Dang it. I want the lube. Okay, this is a really dorky conversation. All right, good night, everybody.
Bye
Bye.
bye,
Thank you for
everyone.
joining us.